Okay, so one last thing, real quick. Meet the new addition to my family. There's my buddy. There's my little buddy boy. He was sleeping and I woke him up. You believe people just abandon these things? Insane. So, after we put down Sonny, Juju seemed so lonely. She kept sniffing around. She keeps sniffing at the door. She kept looking for him. She kept sniffing all around for him. She would want to be in our arms more often. And it's crazy because she didn't want, when I'm relaxing and crocheting, that's when she could be on me. But when I'm like doing budgets and getting receipts, and getting receipts, and I'm doing something like doing my pills, or that's when she wants to be on me. And it's like the most inconvenient time. And it was just, the story behind that real quick is that we found out about a no-kill shelter that was closing down. And they were supposedly going to forego all fees and all the paper, or, all, what they usually do. And they were just going to give them away for free because they had to close down. They had 30 dogs left. Now, I boycotted PetSmart, but that's where they were going that Saturday. And I went, and all they had was big dogs. And I'm not going through that again. Not on a second floor apartment. If I had my own house or lived on the first floor, I could see it, but I wasn't doing that again. So, I kind of left there kind of crying because I'm still sensitive about, what happened. And as we were walking out, I noticed there was another like, area where they had little dogs. And they were saying that it's $125 cash. And I said, well, look, my husband lost his job last year. We're behind on our bills. And I'll tell you one thing right now. Do I have to take them to the vet? Some places require you to go to the vet on a regular basis. You have to agree to them, blah, blah, blah. And they said, no, just let me ask you a few questions. And so I told, he asked me a question. I answered him and said, okay, well, I'll come back with the cash and you got a dog. So, I talked it over with my family. I said, look, we're behind on our bills, but I was heartbroken over, over Juju, looking for Sonny. I was still heartbroken over Sonny. And, I'll eat less or something, I need to lose weight anyway. So we were willing to make the sacrifice. But before I got any money out of the bank, again, it was a rain. That was the day that it was rainy and cold. So before I got, any money out of the bank, it was just raining and cold. And I said, okay, so what's the deal? I want to know how this works before I give up any money. So, we all had settled after looking at all the puppies. We settled on a Dachshund. And we noticed when they took the Dachshund out, it was bones. It looked like it had been starving. And so we just wanted to bring it home and love it. We even brought Juju with us. She was barking at it. She wasn't taking to him. But, so I said, before I give any money, I just want to make sure that we're accepted. Because, I'm not going to give them no money and then they say, oh, sorry. We go to fill out all the paperwork, and yeah, you had to agree to take it to the vet on a regular basis. And buy all these medications for flea, for heartworm, for this and that. My dogs are indoor dogs, and so I wasn't worried about really any of those things, although a mosquito could get into the house. But, I told him I couldn't afford that. So he calls his director, and she, and she's like, no, she can't have him. Because she has to pay for all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And on top of that, I'm paying $125 cash. So we were like, okay, it wasn't meant to be. And, so when I came home, I was really heartbroken again. I really felt heartbroken. And, I even wrote her. I even emailed the director. There was an email there. I emailed the director, telling her how this, that, and the other thing. And, basically she's saying, look, if you can't afford a dog, then don't have one, basically. But she wasn't trying to be mean, but, she was being kind of mean. So, I was like, you know what? I told my husband, if it is God's will, if it is God who wants us to have a companion for Juju, a playmate for Juju, it will happen, and we won't have to pay all these fees. Because I'm gonna have to take it to the vet anyway to get it its rabies, and to give it an exam to make sure they're okay. Blah blah. Now, the good thing about those pets is they were all neutered, and that's where the expense comes in. And they've had all their shots and everything. So that's basically what the 125 would have went for. But to tell me that now I have to take it to the vet and get it all these other stuff, no. So, someone was telling me that on Facebook there are a bunch of people who put pets up saying, look, we found this pet. If it's yours, come get it. If not, call us because we can't keep it. We're just going to keep it for a short while. Then they're saying that they're going to take it to the SPCA and blah, blah, blah. And I tried calling. I saw a Chihuahua that looked just like Juju. So I tried calling, but I didn't get an answer back. So I was like, well, it wasn't meant to be. So now I had made an appointment for Juju because that was last Thursday. I wanted her to get chipped. This was right as soon as I finished my video. I was getting ready to run out the door and get her, because when you lose your dog, they have an implant, and you scan it and it tells you who the owner is. And I should have did this a year ago, and she kept running out the door. But I said, let me just get that over with now. Let's do that. Before we become destitute because of this dang forced insurance stuff where you got to pay all this money. And I said, let's just do this now. I'll feel more protected, because a couple of times my husband left the door open and she was all the way out almost to the street. Well, the parking lot, not the street. And so I said, just to be on the safe side, let's do this. And I was getting dressed to go out the door, and my husband brings a puppy. At least it looked like a puppy. And it was in a small little crate. And I told him, I don't want you to take him out because he might have fleas. Supposedly the story with that was that these people didn't want to pay a pet fee when they moved. It's like, because pet fees are like $300. They didn't want to pay it. So they gave it to this guy. And this guy, I guess, is doing his thing. And he gave it to his parents. And both the parents work. And January is the coldest month here. And they just left him out in a cage outside on the patio. And they didn't even walk him. They opened up the door and let him go in that freezing cold. You see how tiny he is. He's half the size of Juju. And one time he didn't return for 2 days. They thought he was gone, and he didn't return for 2 days. And so this is the coldest. This is just like what happened with Juju last year. The coldest month is January. The first week of January are always the coldest times in Houston. And that's when this dog was lost. 2 days later, I don't even know how he survived, because it's this tiny little thing, he shows up. So my husband goes to the garage to get, I guess, maintenance equipment, and he sees this dog in a cage, and he said, what? So he thought somebody, had brought him to do something and then bring him back, but he still saw him at the end of the day. So he said, whose dog is this? Oh, we can't keep him, and, we work, we can't be on top of him. So, we kind of brought him here to see if anybody wanted him. I mean, they weren't asking anybody, so I'm really not sure what he was trying to accomplish. My husband said, are you serious? You don't want him? And he said, no, I can't. So my husband said, then he's mine. He knew, I told him if God wanted us to have a companion for Juju, he will provide one. And he brings home this puppy. I just started crying, because God is so good. God knows the desires of our hearts. And so I called the vet real quick and said, look, my dog's appointment is not for another 35, 40 minutes. Do you have time to see him? And they looked at the schedule. They said, yes, if you come right now, we'll have a half hour for him before we chip Juju. It was awesome. So they looked at him. He was not chipped. He did have fleas, which is why I didn't want my husband to let him loose in my house. Because we have carpets, and they go into the carpet. And I didn't want Juju to get it. I found, what's funny? I went into the closet and found Sonny's old flea and heartworm med. And so it's drops. So instead of, I put one drop on Juju And then you have to like scrub it into the back, close it, and that should last me for a year for both of them. When we got there, there was a $15 off for the first time, and it cost me less than what it would have cost me to get a dog that day. So he got his rabies shot. They treated his fleas. They checked him for worms. They gave him a big look over and said he looks healthy. Just watch out. He has dryness around the ears, which could be mange. And he still has his baby teeth, and we need to pull them. Yeah. I told the vet from the beginning, look, my husband lost his job last year, and we're really behind on bills, and we don't have a lot of money to spend. So, just the basics, and they're still trying to get me to do this stuff. And I'm like, no, I never heard of paying $300-$400 to pull out a puppy's teeth. I don't even pay that much to a dentist. So I was like, and the mange might be contagious. I'm not worried about it because his fur looked healthy, his skin looked healthy. It was just the ears, and she said she saw dryness on the elbow. He was just left out in the cold, so I'm not gonna worry about that. So, we brought him home, and I took baby shampoo because they told me don't use flea medicine because it could kill them. So I got baby shampoo, scrubbed him, and all the fleas were falling off him dead. A couple were still alive, but they said don't worry, they will die. So we just gave him a good scrubbing and got rid of those fleas. And I put a drop of the medication I have for Sonny and got him a collar, and he's mine. Now the only thing I'm trying to find is low cost. Well, I'm trying to get free neutering, and unfortunately I moved out of Houston into Pearland, and the priority is Houston. I can go, but they might turn, if they have more people from, if there's whatever, let's say it's 25 people. If there's already 25 people there from Houston, they're going to turn me away. And it's a lottery. You have to be there at like 6:30 in the morning. It's an hour away. They can turn me down just for not living in Houston anymore. And I mean, it's just all Houston, but it's different counties. And I don't live in the Harris County, which is Houston, inner Houston. They put your name in a jar or bowl, and if they pull out your name, you'll have the surgery, and it's free. So I didn't want to go all the way up to North Houston, and I found out that they're having one in West Houston, which is only a 30-minute drive, if not less, from me. And it didn't say that they prefer Harris County over Brazoria County. It just said bring them, lottery. So the only bad thing is they're not going to be here until 2.5 to 3 weeks. So he's spraying, like he'll lift and spray on the door as if to say, this is my, I'm leaving my son here. And he's this little tiny thing. He thinks he's so tough. He torments the cat. He's constantly picking on Juju, which, Juju loves it. Now she's got somebody she could torment like she did to my Sonny. They're always running and playing, and it's easier to teach him to use the pad because I take him in with Juju. When Juju does a thing, he'll do his thing with her. But as far as number 2, I still can't get him to go. And, I'm on top of him. I bring him in, and then later, somewhere during the day when I'm not paying attention, we'll find packages on the floor. But again, we use mid-priced dog food because it will harden the stool so it's not sinking into the rug. So that's a good thing, not like urine. I tried going with a cheaper brand, and I did that for Sonny. He got sick. He was vomiting. So I'll stick with the mid-price brand for now. So that's the story with that. So let me take my pictures and let me go because I gotta leave here in about an hour. Okay, mwah, love you, bye. Oh, look at my snowflakes. I don't buy China Glaze anymore, but China Glaze was on sale, a half price. And I missed the snow so much that I wanted snowflakes on my nails.